Okay, I actually saw Fast 8 last weekend, but I never had a chance to do this video until now. And born in China, I was on a Disney cruise about 6 months ago, and since the movie is a Disney movie from Disney Nature, they had a screening of it 6 months before the official US release. So I got to see this movie all the way back in October, and it's been a while, so there might be certain details I'm missing. But both movies in this video I would give a 7 out of 10 and either a B or B plus on a letter grading scale. Where to start? Okay, so Born in China, I'll talk about that first since I already started talking about it. So, one of the producers who worked on the movie came out on stage before the movie started showing, and they talked for about 15 minutes about how everything was filmed over the course of 4 years, and then they edited it all together into a coherent story or a set of coherent stories. And for me personally, there was only one time in the entire movie where it was really obvious that they did that. Like, it shows a baby panda on the forest floor and a red panda up in the tree, and it cuts back and forth between them, like looking into the camera to imply that they're looking at each other, and that was really the only moment like that that felt forced at all. As you would expect with these types of movies, the cinematography is beautiful. The landscapes look really pretty. The only real reason I would recommend you see this movie is the snow leopards, because for those of you who don't know, they're really, they're rare, very rare. They're very difficult to photograph, let alone film, and even Planet Earth, like back in the first Planet Earth, back in 2006, they went far and wide all over the world, and the only image of a snow leopard they could get was from far away for like 20 seconds, like it's just walking down a series of cliffs or something, and it's not very exciting. But this movie, they scoured the mountains of China for 4 months trying to find a family of snow leopards they can film, and once they did, they filmed them for a long time, and they got there's like 20 minutes of them in this movie, and it's all up close and personal, so I really give them credit for that. The one annoying thing about this movie is that the narrator tries to anthropomorphize everything the cute furry little animals do, and just to make the audience members go "aw," or it's funny because they think like we do, or I don't know, just like, but it never felt super overly cutesy for the most part. The only other thing there really is to say about it is, at the screening I went to, the first 10 minutes there was no narration, and then all of a sudden the narrator started talking as if we already knew what he was talking about. So I guess there was some sort of technical difficulty at my screening. But yeah, if you want to go see it, it's pretty good, I guess. It's kind of hard to rate and review nature documentaries because they're so different from traditional films, but it's good. Anyways, Fast 8. I've been a huge fan of this series since the beginning. I was like, how old was I when the first one came out? That was 2001, so I was 6 years old, I think. Yeah, so I've been a fan since the beginning. I've been a fan of cars for a long time, basically since I was like 13 or so. I started getting into cars, and I watched a lot of Top Gear as a teenager, both the US and UK versions. I like the US version. It gets a lot of unnecessary hate, but I think it's not too bad. And Clarkson, May, Hammond, come back. I don't care if we have the Grand Tour. Come back to Top Gear. Oh, I miss you guys. But anyways, Fast 8. We're 8 movies into the series by now. You don't even need to tell me anything about it. If it seems like your cup of tea, you're gonna go see it. If you think it's stupid, you're not gonna go see it. So anything I say from this point on in the video, you're probably just gonna ignore, and it's basically just gonna be the same stuff everyone has been saying about it. Basically, this would be no surprise to anyone who's seen these movies. The plot is bullshit, okay? Ever since like the 4th movie onward, the plots of these movies have always just been trying to ramp it up, trying to outdo themselves. They know, the series is at least self-aware about it. They know they've devolved into this just craziness. But at the same time, the craziness is what I love about these movies. It's just, it's amazing. Because if I had to judge the Fast and the Furious movies as films, like as actual narratives and pieces of art, my scores would be significantly lower, and I would have a much lesser opinion of them. But you don't go to a Fast and the Furious movie for that. You go for the entertainment value. All I care about when I go to see a Fast and the Furious movie is, did it entertain me? And thankfully, the answer is yes. The first, 30 minutes of the movie were not that interesting for me. I was like, okay, where's this movie going? Nothing's really happening. But then once they get to New York and the first big chase happens, they're like, oh, okay, I see what you're going for now. Okay, we're gonna have some fun. And the street race at the beginning of the movie is pretty unnecessary. It could have been cut out. The only reason they have it is because he befriends the guy he races against. He's like, I don't need your car, all I need is your respect or something. And then he comes back later in the movie for 10 seconds. It's part of a plot element, and I like how they worked it in there, but man, that whole sequence, that whole opening sequence in Cuba probably could have been cut by 80%. And yeah, like I said, the plot is bullshit. They remote control 1,000 cars, and there's just autopilot cars driving all over New York. And the second big chase scene is in somewhere in Russia, where there's even more bullshit, where they try hijacking a submarine, and then they shut down the submarine, and then they hack into the submarine, and the submarine gets autopiloted, and then just so much ridiculousness, okay? I don't wanna I would spend 15 minutes breaking down every single individual thing that couldn't happen in real life, that just, you know what? Like I said, you go to see these movies for the entertainment value. Like, I remember when I was in my freshman dorm in college, and uh, Fast Six was already out on home media for a while, and uh, there were some people on my floor, like 5 or 6 other people that were all together in my one friend's room, and they talked about like wanting to watch a movie on Netflix or something, and then someone brought up Fast Six, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I saw that movie in the theater. Let's watch that. It's really awesome. You guys are gonna love it." And we had a great time. Everyone was like laughing and yelling at the screen, and it was fantastic. Everyone had a great time. They're just great crowd pleasing movies. And Tyrese Gibson, I don't know if it's just his face or the way he delivers lines or the lines they write for him in the script, but everything that comes out of his mouth makes me laugh. I don't know why. I just think he's a really funny guy. And it's the one bad thing about the theater I saw this in was because this movie came out on Good Friday, which meant a ton of people took the day off. So there were only like 20 or 30 people in the theater when I went to go see it, which kind of stinks because I remember Fast 6 and Fast 7, there was a packed house. And these are the kinds of movies that are awesome to see with a big audience that's really into it and loving it. Like at the movie theater, when I went to go see Fast 6 and Fast 7 and I think Fast 5 and Fast 4 too, there were just all these modified cars outside in the parking lot, like, and all these street racers hang around showing off all their cool cars. Like, and you bring in that crowd into a movie like that, you're gonna have a fun time. Yeah, so it's a little disappointing that there were only that small number of people in the theater, at least when I went to go see it. But even still, those 20 or 30 people, they were having a blast. And if I have any entertainment value complaints about Fast 8 other than it was just a little boring in the first 30 minutes or so, it's that there's only 2 big action set pieces. There's the chase in New York and the chase on the Russian lake. And I kind of wish there was more, because like Fast 6 had like 5 big set pieces, and Furious 7 was just probably the most ridiculous one of all. Like parachuting their cars out of a plane and just like crazy stuff like that. And when Dom drives his car like through the air into Brian Shaw, I think. Yeah, Jason Statham's character. And I miss Han. It's too bad he's dead now. Bring Han back. And that's not a spoiler for this movie. That's from Fast 6. When it turns out Tokyo Drift took place during Fast 6. Or right after it anyway. Still doesn't really make a whole lot of sense if you count all the little continuity errors. And Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift is probably my least favorite out of all the movies, and Fast 6 is probably my favorite. This one, I don't really know where it ranks, but you know, you'll you'll get what you expect with this movie. That's all I can say.